The spaceport auction yard on the dusty moon of Carthos. 9 was the last place anyone expected to find something valuable. Rusting hulls of abandoned freighters sat in long rows beneath flickering floodlights. Old mining ships with broken thrusters. Cargo haulers stripped of parts. War relics nobody wanted anymore. It was the kind of place desperate pilots came when they had almost no credits left. Jace Halden stood among the small crowd, his worn flight jacket zipped up against the cold wind that swept across the yard. 3 months ago, he had lost his job hauling cargo after his company folded. Since then, he had been drifting from port to port, trying to find work. Now, he had one last chance. In his pocket sat a credit chip containing nearly everything he had left. The auctioneer, a tall man with a mechanical voice amplifier, stepped onto the platform. Lot number 47, he announced. Unregistered exploration vessel recovered from outer debris field. Ship status, non-operational. Interior condition unknown. Minimum bid, 3,000 credits. A holoscreen flickered to life, projecting the ship's image. The vessel looked terrible. Its hull was scratched and burned, several panels missing. The engine casing was half melted, as if it had survived a serious battle or crash. Most people in the crowd chuckled. Scrap metal, someone muttered. 3,000 credits, the auctioneer repeated. No one spoke. Jace studied the image carefully. Beneath the damage, he could see something interesting about the design. The frame looked advanced, far more advanced than most civilian ships. Maybe it had once been a high-end exploration craft. Maybe it could be repaired. Or maybe he was about to make the worst decision of his life. Jace raised his hand. 3,000. The crowd turned to look at him. The auctioneer paused. We have 3,000. Any higher bids? Silence. Going once, going twice, sold. The gavel struck. And just like that, Jace Halden became the owner of a mysterious wrecked spaceship. 2 hours later, he stood inside Dock Hangar 12 staring at his purchase. Up close, the ship looked even worse. Burn marks covered the hull. One landing strut was slightly bent. The access ramp creaked when he lowered it. Still, something about the vessel intrigued him. Its structure wasn't standard human engineering. The metal had a strange dark sheen. The control panel beside the hatch glowed faintly with unfamiliar symbols. Great, Jace muttered. I bought alien junk. He stepped inside. Dust floated in the air as the ramp sealed behind him. The interior lights flickered weakly to life, powered by what little energy remained in the backup systems. The ship was larger than it appeared from outside. A narrow corridor led deeper into the vessel. Strange curved walls suggested a design meant for long-distance exploration. Jace walked slowly through the hallway. A navigation room. Sleeping quarters. A small medical bay. Everything looked abandoned, but strangely untouched. No bodies. No signs of struggle. Just silence. Then he heard something. A faint humming sound. It came from the far end of the ship. Jace followed the noise until he reached a sealed chamber door. The control panel beside it glowed bright blue. Okay, he whispered. This is new. He pressed the panel. The door slid open with a long mechanical hiss. Inside the chamber stood a tall, transparent cylinder filled with pale blue light. A cryostasis pod. And, inside it, someone was sleeping. Jace stepped closer. At first he thought it was a human woman, but then he noticed the details. Her skin had a faint silver shimmer. Long dark hair floated gently in the suspended fluid. Delicate glowing lines ran along her arms like living circuitry. She was beautiful, and definitely not human. Before Jace could react, the cryopod suddenly beeped. Warning lights flashed. The chamber filled with soft mechanical sounds as systems came online. Oh no, Jace said. I didn't do that. The pod drained quickly, the liquid disappearing into hidden compartments. The glass chamber opened. The woman collapsed forward. Jace barely managed to catch her. She was warm, breathing slowly. After a moment, her eyes opened. They glowed faintly violet. She looked directly at him. Then she spoke in a language he had never heard before. Jace blinked. I don't understand that. The woman studied his face for several seconds. Then the glowing lines on her skin pulsed. Suddenly, she spoke again. This time in perfect galactic standard. Where am I? Jace nearly dropped her. You're in dock hangar 12 on Karthos 9, he said carefully. And you just woke up inside a ship I bought 2 hours ago. She frowned slightly. My ship. Apparently. The woman slowly stood up, steadying herself against the cryopod. My name is Lyra, she said. I am, or was a navigator of the Aurelian exploratory fleet. Jace stared. Aurelian? Even in distant colonies, people knew that name. The Aurelians were a legendary alien civilization believed to have disappeared centuries ago. You're telling me you're from a species everyone thinks is extinct? Lyra looked around the chamber. My ship was attacked, she said quietly. We were studying a dangerous region of space, something ancient. My crew placed me in cryostasis before the vessel was lost. She turned back to Jace. How long have I been asleep? He checked the damaged control panel. According to this, it's about 312 years. Lyra froze. Her expression slowly changed as the realization hit her. Everyone I knew, she whispered. Yeah, Jace said gently. I'm sorry. For a moment the room was silent. Then the ship suddenly shook. Warning alarms blared across the interior. Jace looked at the console. That's not good. Lyra moved quickly to the controls. Her fingers flew across the alien interface. Someone is scanning this ship, she said. Who? The answer arrived seconds later. Through the hangar window, several black armored vessels descended toward the dock. Jace recognized the design instantly. Pirates, he groaned. Great. Lyra's glowing eyes narrowed. They followed the ship, she said. They want what is inside it. What exactly is inside it? She hesitated. Then she activated a holographic projection in the center of the room. A map of deep space appeared. At its center pulsed a strange, swirling region. That, Lyra said quietly, is what my crew was studying. Jace stared at it. What is it? A doorway, she said. A doorway to what? Lyra looked at him seriously. Something ancient. Something powerful enough that my people tried to hide it. The ship shook again as pirate ships landed outside. Boots echoed in the hangar. They're coming, Jace said. Lyra looked at the controls of her ship. Then she smiled slightly. Good. What do you mean good? She began activating systems across the ship. Lights surged brighter. Engines hummed back to life. You didn't buy a scrap ship, Lyra said calmly. You bought a war-grade exploration vessel. The floor vibrated as the engines powered up for the first time in centuries. Outside, pirates shouted as the ship lifted from the hangar floor. Jace grabbed the pilot's seat. You're telling me this thing still flies? Lyra sat beside him. Better than it ever did before. The ship blasted out of the hangar roof, scattering pirates below. Within seconds they were rising toward open space. Jace stared at the controls. You realize I only paid 3,000 credits for this thing. Lyra looked at the stars ahead. Then you made the greatest purchase in the galaxy. Behind them, pirate ships launched in pursuit. But ahead, the endless universe waited. And somewhere in the darkness, the ancient doorway was still out there. Jace smiled. Well, he said, gripping the controls, guess I just started a new job. Lyra nodded. Yes, she said. Our adventure.